This is the introduction section. So,
Okay.
why we read this book of that?
Well, I don't know how much you have heard or you know about Confucius. It's kind of like a common name. It's very much associated with like Eastern things. So in that sense, often people like us will avoid it for the most part because we want to engage in more Western topics. Like, I won't go too much into that, but one of the primary reasons we
Take your time to expound. Yes,
Oh, sure.
Okay. Yeah, so Benji have more context.
Yeah. One of the primary reasons we study and go through some of his works, we're currently going through the introduction of this book, which means there's an author that's kind of talking about his perspective of Confucius' writings and their significance in different fields of thought. But the reason we read him is some of his works is because we desire to have or glean from them kind of a better idea of how a community works and how relationships work with one another. And I know that sounds kind of vague, but that's one of the things that Confucius, one of his primary goals in his teachings originally, which of course he actually lived quite a long time ago. This is almost like 300 or 400 years before Christ, actually. So he's a really ancient guy. But what he does is he goes over the important principles of relationships with other people, say like between a student and a teacher, or brothers, or a father and a son, okay? So, or maybe even a king and his people, or a government and its people.
Husband and wife.
Those different things. And it's good for us to go through them because, of course, we don't just read the book and not discuss about it. The biggest thing about this time that we have is that we not only read the things, but we discuss their meaning with one another. And that's, of course, something that Emmanuel is very important in this in this time, is that not only does he have the wisdom to kind of explain these things and their deeper meanings and how they're applicable to our own lives, both individually and as a community, but he also has had some past experience and knowledge with these things, especially as one who lived in China for quite a while during the first half of his life, and he spent a lot of time studying these things as well. But again, there's a real benefit we see in the writings too, that comes along with how not only storing knowledge in our minds, but how these kind of things can be put into practice, in a sense that it helps us to build a new perspective of how we relate to other people. So for instance, this is like the main thing it does. Imagine how Americans, or how the Western mind tends to think. It always is about you for the most part, right? Mm-hmm. What is my life going to be like?
Right.
What does my future hold? And those are valid questions, but what this kind of thought does is it brings your conscience to a more communal perspective or relational perspective. So you're beginning to not ask questions merely about yourself, but what is my place in this community? Where is this community going? What influence can I have in the community? Or, for instance, your mind and heart go beyond yourself. It's not constricted to your own life. Your heart begins to expand to the lives of others around you. So not just your family, of course it begins there, and that's something we go through anyways, and something you're going through in your own life too. You're beginning to, as you grow up and you're getting to an age to be a teenager too, you're expanding the views of your life to look beyond yourself and into the lives of others, including your family members, of course. But that's the thing. Your life is not it's not always facing a mirror all the time. It's looking over the others that you have influence over. And of course, you're in actually a unique position as the oldest brother in your family.
You're the oldest.
Yeah.
Well, that's a terrible place to be.
So you get what I'm saying a little bit?
Yeah.
I'm being kind of vague as to what Confucius actually goes through, because there are a lot of points that he goes through, but most of his writings even are kind of like typically like 2 to 3 sentence long sayings, in a sense, that are very compact with meaning. So I don't know if we had like an example or not or something like that. Elijah actually has memorized, I don't know if this is from Confucius himself or not, but memorized 3 points that are essential for learning, for example.
Yeah.
So if Elijah wants to relay
Expand
those.
that a little bit. Mm.
So the three, this is something we went over actually a long time ago. It's called, it was one of Confucius' teachings. It was the three ways to learn. The first one was out of three people, at least one of them can teach you. And that's not solely just saying, well, if there's three people walking, one of those people can teach you. It's more about having a desire to learn and looking to learn from something and not just be confined to one thing, and to just be more open, I guess, to like learning. And then the second one is when you learn one thing, you can learn a lot of things at the same time. That's just being in that context. It's more. It's kind of like killing two birds with one stone, kind of thing. That's kind of the same. It's almost like the same kind of metaphor. But
Give a relevant or practical example in your life or what you did. Maybe learn one thing, learn other things through it.
Well, the thing about that is it can be educational in the sense of like you can be learning science while simultaneously learning math at the same time, because two things can align together. It can also be things in life where you're learning about, say, Confucius teachings. You can learn about life lessons, and you can learn at the same time how other things apply to your life in all different ways. So it spreads out a lot. And then the third one is, if you're going to learn from the best. And what that means, not only that you're learning from the best person means you can get the best information, but it means if you learn from a person who just has like an okay knowledge, you're not going to get a very good knowledge of what it's teaching. But if it's
Something, I think that's your mom, so yeah.
Morning.
Hello, sister. Come in. Do you have some tapes want to transfer? We can do that for you for sure. So.
I have film, but
You have films. Okay. Good to see you.
good to see you.
Yeah. Elijah want to give this folks a tour to our studio.
sure.
Yeah, so mine is the first time, right? So
Yeah,
so this is our studio. Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
So yeah, this, all their work. The land has an office right there.
I'll read it, so.
Was it where I think
48.
48. Okay.
maybe not.
Thank you for the presentation. I hope that helped.
Oh, I hope I did okay.
Oh, did a good job. Yeah, everybody did a good job. Yeah. Yeah. Your turn.
Oh, you want me to read
What do you
first?
think I'll give you my book for? For nothing?
Yeah, let me click the note real quick. Okay.
So at the very end of 47 where it says, let us take an example.
Mm.
Let us take an example which illustrates the way Confucius thought about the existing rites. The master said, a ceremonial cap of linen is what is prescribed by the rites. Today, black silk is used instead. This is more frugal, and I follow the majority.
Mm.
To prostrate oneself before ascending the steps is what is prescribed by the rites.
Mm.
Today, one does so after having ascended them.
Mm.
This is casual, and through going against the majority, I follow the practice of doing so before the ascending.
Mm. Do you understand the occasion? The occasion was like, in the Old Testament, the priests perform their duty, and right, they try to have a more public ceremony were official formal ceremony. Like today, we say it's not a game time. It's like inauguration time. Everybody want to be in the proper place, acting, behave, were formally and respect that occasion and my unique occasion. So nothing dressed differently. These days we all dress ties, suits, no problem. In ancient times, material clothes were hard to get in certain kinds, especially silk, those kind of things. Colors were hard to produce, and so those things cost a lot. Thinking about it, maybe more so expensive, so delicate, especially Asian times, right? So then the pretty much also the clothes you dress, the color assigned to you, the style assigned to you is pretty much in the system, especially in these occasions. Like in the Old Testament, the priests have wear special materials, everything was meticulously defined, right? So is those kind of occasions. So when you change things without reason or change things too much, it destroys the whole setup, the meaning, So normally you don't allow people to change it at all. Just like the priest, how it is dressed, how the tabernacle set up, it was a fix, right? Nobody's supposed to change it in the Old Testament. So it's supposed to be like that. But then people, the clothes improve, there are certain things getting more expensive, or maybe things getting improved. They improve the ceremony, right? So the dress can be changed, make it changes. But when you go to a higher place, like a platform, and it take a ascending process to follow certain steps, right? It's a long step. So it really, clothes can change, but the behavior should not change. So how you act yourself, carry yourself should not change, because that's what innate in your ability to do so, right? So making sense to you? So Confucius was saying, you know what? Clothes can change because modern day economy different, but the attitudes, the thing you can do should remain the same. And if people modify that, there's something is almost like a boundaries broken, right? So making sense to you? Otherwise, like today, you go to school, whatever. You understand? You dress differently. 1,000 years ago, you were dressed different kind, right? So you were dressed differently. Making sense to you? So. But when you're attending a school or ceremony, whatever, you begin to totally relaxed in your attitude, we approach things. That changes well over time, for sure. But it changed too much to a place that it's become unrecognizable. Well, the ceremony, the occasion literally lost its meaning to have any formality that it used to have, right? So now it's one thing to say that those rigid things, bad things, really is, which is modern mind said those are bad, right? It's really living as behavior, but they have no idea when those things are given up, then certain culture center, certain order center, certain attention center, certainly set up a way how culture, how wisdom, how order is dispensed, right? So it's lost. Literally just shifted culture center or leadership center or whatever center. You just change them, right? So now that means the things involved in that system, in this setup, is totally shifted. We don't necessarily think like that because sometimes we even do things. For example, today, this American culture, more than 300 years. But the Constitution, the same Constitution, everybody, every lawyer, every scholar will say that we are faithful, we honor the Constitution. But the practice Constitution totally changed because the practice government totally changed. One simple example, congressman become a profession, right? Got a salary, everything. Congressman was not have a salary. You have no income being a politician in early days. That's changed. So we were saying that's simple change, not too much, but somebody changed it one time. Make allowance for that. And there you go. Today you come have a system, a political system, totally by professional politicians. They have to make a living depends on election. Into the office stay for 30 years, and that's all they do, right? So they become a professional politicians. And their livelihood, the reputation, the whole life totally built on what? To win the election. So in order to win the election, they had to maintain their connections, their influences, right? So literally, in order to be powerful or to have a living going, they have to form relations for a certain ways, rather than treat this as a service, as a sacrificial effort, as love unto the nation, love unto, honorable sacrifice. Am I? Right now become what? A source for greed, source for self-serving, source for twisting agendas. Therefore, the person depends on livelihood. It really has to appease and please when elect you, right? So you can't do without. So when the public or the ones that supported you are either uninformed or misled or they are corrupted interest group, right? So basically you're owned by this kind of things. You're responsible for them. You're not responsible for the Constitution, nor the first interest is about the nation, right? So just a simple change in that regard that opened the floodgate for the one who govern and fulfill the mission of his country intended to do had fundamentally changed. And the American today would say, no, we always have the same constitution, nothing really, we never deviated from it. Truth of the matter, but that's one simple thing. Everything about being congressman changed. And with that, the whole body of a construct, the government changed. The similar situation happened in the presidency. Presidency used to be where everybody support trying to manage the law that or the elected will of the people basically, right? So being condition goes on there. The government was small, and the agencies are maintained to a minimal, and the agencies is try to carry it out, do not make laws, man, they carry out the law. Now today, however, the moment of the revolt become a big government. The government becomes so big, the president is like riding a train, right? He can change the head of the institutions, whatever, but he can't change the system, everybody in the system, right? So, make sense to you? So, namely, he's making a decision, he don't really, but really the fundamentals, the whole group of people under the institution never change. So, after administration of the administration. And more than that, the Congress, by permission, made the law, said, because we don't want to get in the nitty-gritties of making every law for you, we just don't make the law, you guys, you know how to do this thing. Please make your own rules, make your own acts. The word called acts. The president continue to give acts. Acts not supposed to happen in the original constitution. Says my point, the presidency don't make laws, the agency don't make laws. Now, even the Supreme Court, I'm just talking about how everything changed. Now, take into account, even they said it must be respected when the agency make rules, make acts. So, used to be the cases only relate to the lawmaking body. Now, they have all kinds of rules, all kinds of acts. You just literally replaced the body for laws and the interpreter of the law. Because it used to be a judge, a supreme judge, had to validate under the laws given by me, by the one who making the law, right? So now because the law given to the government, the agency said, we're going to make our interpretation, make our rules, that's how we carry out the law. Now, our body of rules or acts is the law. It's the new law. Am I making sense to you? So now you can think about it. You have two power center, two law center, and changed everything. I'm just talking. It changed everything because the Supreme Court right now is more than just responsible reviewing the law, the body for law that really is elected people, elected congressman or senator doing it. They actually has to say, you know what, this ongoing big government agency, whatever they are doing, we need to respect that and their laws. So we have two governments. In essence, you have two governments. One government is fluctuated based on the elected will of the people, goes on, right? So, making sense to you? There is body law, continuity. There's another hidden government. Hidden government is after the agency got into motion, they have their own power source. They can literally practice their own thing as that become traditions and precedents for the law, for the land. And making sense to you? They make their own law, they make their own land. And that was not elected will of the people. That was nobody tell them that you can make law and should be respected as. Yet the truth matter, as much other thing can modify, but actually every practical things of this government right now is an agency eventually has almost the thorough practical powers over everything. Therefore, the president cannot push the law because the Congress certainly stuck. The reason why the politics doesn't work these days because Congress lost it is pure source, meaning every contention, grab attention, whatever. But they're also dysfunctional. They're literally not interested to pass the laws, they're interested to garner attention, make them win the election. So now that leaves more and more chaotic the burden to the agencies or the executive branch to do their things. When they're doing things, you're not interested in this topic, were relevant for your life. Okay, so when you set up things, when you consider changes, back to the changes, somebody opened the floodgate for the changes to happen. He didn't think through. He just said, this is convenient, this must be done, therefore let's do it. But he changed something, has no clue that simple change going to fundamentally derail or replace the original setup or intent of a thing. So to effect that, the things that this government set up, how it operates, is absolutely different from, we can see all other things, so to back up the reason, but it's totally different than the original intent of the founding fathers, the people try to get government what to do. Am I making sense to you? Yeah, so, well, you're not living in a democracy or as you think anymore. You're living in an empire system. This is the Roman Empire is operating. Because things set up really, the elected will of the people really can shift, right? So, am I making sense to you? So that is totally different vision than the founding fathers' vision for America. America was never supposed, it was a beacon light, it was new hope for humanity, but it never supposed to impose a power over the world and interfere with other nations' affairs. That was explicitly expressed by the founding fathers. That's what they know to do. So, making sense to you? So that's right now is totally off the drain. Just talking about things. So when Confucius dragged this topic out, he is a historian. He studied all the generations of government, how the culture changed for 1,000 years, how it changed, many government. He come to a student looking back how things changed, how former dynasties or how former government begin to fall down. He have all those records before him, just like we now looking at the Roman Empire till today is American. We can look at, what happened in the Roman Empire. You read the Gibbons one, Decline of the Roman Empire. What is the word? Edward Gibbons.
The Roman Empire.
Yeah, exactly. You can look at that to look at American today. They said, okay, there is some serious lessons need to be learned, something need to be learned or restored or whatever, so that's his perspective. So and then he narrowed down to certain construct. In this case, it is a kind construct. That's when things begin to change, so when we look at these details, if we don't understand the context, we have no clue what I'm actually talking about. We say, like, what this guy is really about? He's talking about the clothes change. Who cares? But there you go. I try to give you a picture how to learn things, not because of historical fact, but rather to have that keen eye, like Confucius said. Okay, I know it's a big subject. I'll write a book, write an essay about it. I don't want to talk about like that. It completes the matter. I just want to talk about maybe the clothes. Why you change the clothes? Simple, straightforward, but the same meaning. That's what Jesus is teaching. Jesus' teaching is continuous one. He didn't use a lengthy academic process. He teach what? He teaches parables, things everyday life, and look at the, more concrete things. In your life, you want to learn things eventually. We all have a very increasingly capable mind. And the world is full of complex concept minds. But eventually, coming my age, I hope you will do even earlier than me. You will not be pleased by those things anymore. Those things is, okay, jumble of thoughts, jumble like, what is called terminologies, or systems, construct. No, I want us to look at what's really happening, and use a different way, simple, straightforward, but it's profound and so effective, and to learn different way to receive wisdom and process wisdom. You can teach discipline using a dog. Why not discipline dog? Or you can use human behavior. This morning I'm learning that, how you have a good disciple. Who is a good disciple? You can look at the dogs, treat their owners, you'll know. Very simple. If the dog don't like you, it's gonna be easy to discipline that dog. He's very strong-willed. He's really self-centered. Whatever, I want to go where I go. I want to do what I want to do. The owner just drag it everywhere by that dog, right? And the owner loves the dog, but the dog don't love the owner. Don't really care what the dog owner feels, right? There are those other kind of dogs or other person dogs. He could through all kinds of traumas, but he just want to please the owner. He just look at the owner. Everything is, you don't even need to discipline the dog. The dog just, okay, this is what pleases. He will just automatically do it. So training dog and having a dog become a totally different concept for different owners. So is have a student. Everybody said, okay, you have bad students. So oftentimes blame the teacher. The truth of the matter, if you have teachers, let's say 10% students are good students, excellent students. Often the problem is not the teacher. It's 90% of students are bad students. They don't respect the teacher, they don't want to learn, they don't really care about or have a good respect for what the teacher heart and way doing things. They just go their own way, right? So if a culture in a mode that disabled teacher like today's teacher, there's no way the teacher can make good students. It's a parent's problem, it's a society problem. You can't blame the teacher for failing the 90% students. You should congratulate yourself, said, oh my God, the teacher just didn't go along and he kept the 10% students good. So it's God. All Christianity can be in apostasy, lost its head ways, but there is a remnant. You can't blame God, said he didn't keep his people. He don't want the people to be kept good, right? So It's all willing, it's all powerful, and ever helpful in that regard. But the 90%, most of the people, they don't want God. They just want to use God to claim God for their own benefits. So only a remnant who truly love God. So would he blame God, or the world should blame God, said, hey, you Christianity or God fill the world? Or should the world say, you crooked, corrupt generation, so you evil world, you don't have any heart for God. You never respect God. So it's good to be. In the day to come, you be a teacher. Start with a big dog owner. I suppose you'd be wise to choose your dog to begin with. Everybody happy to be a dog owner. But they don't care about what kind of dog they got. Because they think every dog going to give them the same experience. How foolish is that? If you're a dog owner, what do you do first? You don't choose the breed, the color, whatever. You choose the temperament of the dog. You care about the love dog, but you don't just try in way all possibility to have a dog full of trouble and don't really care as sensitive to your feelings, right? To anyone's feelings. Okay. Care for a broken dog, a lost dog, a hurt dog, but I will not entertain that I have to put up with a bad, vicious dog. I don't ever feel bad as if you don't love dog, you don't want a dog, or you don't able to have a good dog. That's just it's not true. The truth of the matter is a dog is a per choice. It's a per choice for you. So in your life, when you are going life, you're going to engage all kinds of people. Jesus said, there are weird tires. There's those going to stay, there are going to fall away. There's those maybe betray you. Should you dishearten yourself? Should you say that it never works? Should you feel guilty or blame yourself for those falling away? Paul had it, Peter had it, Jesus had it, right? So should never do that. Rather have a clean conscience that, well, those are evil people. Those never love God or respect God's way in our midst. And tell everybody, shun away from them. Be different from them. Separate yourself apart from them. That's what it means to be a good teacher. To hold and standard and measure. Who is obedient? Who is disobedient? Who want to walk with God? Who don't want to walk with God? It's very clear. There's not too many shadow, right? So night is night, day is day. You're a man, you're a woman, so it's very clear things. So why don't call it out as what it is? But religion will continue to blur that line, right? So said, you should not tell us that. Light coming to darkness expose things, right? So what's that what light is about? Truth is like a sword, separate and divide, right? That was I want you to pray. You guys be wise as you grew up, okay? So don't yield, confused, and submit to wrong thinkings. Go ahead.
Lord, I do pray for that assurance, Lord, that confidence that comes in, Lord, being led by your Spirit. Mm-hmm. Lord, surely not a confidence in ourselves or in our own understandings, Lord, but in knowing that you, Lord, have a will and a destiny for our lives. Lord, and in our submittance to you, Lord, you will see those things fulfilled. So, Lord, may our utmost desire be to know your heart, Lord, to hear your voice, to see your face, Father. Lord, to not only receive, but even express your love. Lord, to be, Lord, the light of your life in all that we do and say. Lord, I do pray in this regard and with our relationships to others. Lord, those that we may have once thought we loved and did truly love and have thought that they loved us too, Father. Lord, that even so, Lord, has came with your words concerning the wheat and the tares, Father. That those that you will bring to fruition in our lives, that you would do so, but Lord, also those that are to fall away, Lord, we would continue to walk with our faces like flint, Father, Lord, towards that which you have destined for us, Lord, and to not base things off of that which we feel or that which we perceive with our own lesser minds, Father, Lord, but to trust fully in you, Lord, to exercise to the fullest extent our faith in your spirit and your purpose. I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Elijah, dog is good parable, right? Learn one thing, learn many things. Learn to be a teacher now, to be a managing relationship or affairs life. Learn one thing. Now, if the complete things finally got done, then I need to teach somebody, like today I'm doing. So where to start? You want to write a book about the complete things? You want to learn psychology? You want to study the nitty-gritty how people should behave? I said, well, you know what? Let's look at the dog. Should be good enough, right? Simple enough. You don't want to have a dog for 10 years stay around your dog and continue to cause all the trouble for you. Right? The other day I was looking dog trainer around the city and grandma, so loud the children, evidently respect the children. The daughter have a grandson, so a little boy. Man, that boy don't even get dare to go to the grandma's door. It's tender age, He got beaten by the dog, carried by the dog. So here's the choice. Eventually life become to a head. Dog or grandson? Dog or grandson? Well, what's the problem? The problem is either the dog is never good to begin with, or maybe the grandma is the way treating the dog has a problem, right? So then the real problem is the grandma. The dog's pretty good, can be disciplined very easily. The dog trainer come around, actually change and they mend the relationship. They can hang around, change it. Take a month. Take a month to get it done. A life come to a good place, everybody benefited. But what's wrong with grandma? Everything is wrong about her, to own the dog. The way her doing things. And the fact is that you destroyed everyone's life, including yourselves, by a dog. Are you kidding me? By a dog. Get rid of it if you can't handle it. Why you want that dog to destroy your life? Who is I'm not talking about the don't love dog, my point, so. But anything become an idol, and when we try to impersonate our foolish ways, in the ways and compare every other people, every other man to yield to that disorder, and the Bible called it Jezebel's spirit, called the foolishness. No, would you like that? Have a dog destroy all your loving relationships? But it's foolish. And nobody would say sympathize with grandma. Everybody would look around, sympathize with grandma. Oh, it's just sad it is. Well, she didn't get through. Something about her life is in the haze, in a huge mistake. She was not taught right in life. Do you understand my point? Who told you this is supposed to happen to you? Something is terribly wrong in her life until the old age she can't handle the dog. Something totally missing in her life. Elijah, you can discipline a dog when you're 10 years old. Am I right? You can never have trouble with dog the rest of your life. You never able. It's not big trouble. It's not struggle. That's a basic life skills. The basics of life. The basics. Not just the invasion in this dramatized situation until she's 70-some years old, have this dog around. What her life look like? Look back. You see, I'm sharp, I'm critical, I'm not. Her life full of troubles. That's absolutely true. Her children are full of troubles because they can't even handle the dog. And she will blame everybody and accuse everybody when they discipline the dog or have a dog a different way. They don't know how to love the dog. Am I right? I love the dog. You guys don't know how to love the dog when you discipline the dog or treat the dog differently. The truth of the matter, others know how to love the dog, how to really enjoy, have a productive way of really love the dog, have the dog love them, and everybody happy about it. Am I right? Everybody happy. So what's wrong? We said, nothing wrong about me. You just walking demonic powers, demonic spirit. Let the devil rob your life. A productive, happy, and a free life. And everybody is free. Elijah wanted to pray. Your young mind, the Lord this morning telling me to be a little bit harsh on certain things. To open your heart understanding so you can look things on the surface level, good with your senses more. So you learn to heed and really hear. Jesus said, let those have a ear, let them hear. So when you're gone with these things, get rid of the junk, get rid of the troubles, get rid of the 80% of the source of all kind of a mess in your life. Well, you have 90%. Your life is free and healthy and positive. Why? Right? Rather than always living in the shadow, living in uncertainty, living in disarray. Which life you want? You can have all the time to help people. You can have all the time to enjoy life and kick back. No worries. No fears. So which life is good? It's take a simple change. Like the dog, take a month to discipline. Like you, take a month to change your mind. Take a year to get solid, and the rest of your life is productive. So don't tell me it's not important. And such thing can bought by gold. How many relationships be destroyed if you don't have it? How many opportunities in your life? How many graces God give to you? Right? How many grievances you're going to have? It's just not the matter as a result. Because you will reap what you sow. And don't tell me this is not important for your mind. Too hard for them. Too early for them. Are you kidding me? That's a lie. It's such a lie. Elijah, do you understand what exactly I'm talking about? Am I right? Making sense to you? Do you think it's difficult to do? Or 1 year later, you totally changed a different person, am I right? You're free and thinking straight, am I right? Thinking wise. 1 year, just 1 year. You waited a decade for that grandmother's, how long? 40, 50 years? Troublesome life? Said, I can't even have a dog. Would you want that kind of life, unproductive like that? So I want you to pray. No one also lay hands on to pray. Today is for him that I shared this. Well, this you need to know, sometimes intensity is because I prayed God want me to do something. Let's take opportunity to do it, okay? So wake up your senses. Don't let yourself tell you, you don't need this, it's not good for you. Rather than try to do the opposite, right? So, go ahead.
Yes, Lord. Lord, Lord, the past few days, Lord, I can feel the changes, Lord, you are doing in my heart. Lord, I can feel you. Lord, I can feel the enemy. Lord, as he is much more adamant now to try to deceive me, try to distract me, Lord. Lord, when I am making progress to you, Lord, that is when the enemy strikes. So, Lord, I pray that I would not give in, Lord, that I would walk on, Lord, that I would run. Lord, and that those Lord Noah, Lord Emmanuel, my dad, others. Lord, that I would run with them, Lord, and they would run with me.
You will lead us wrong. How about that?
Lord, I pray that we would seek things, Lord, together, Lord, to find the new things, Lord, and all the things that you want to show us, Lord, or that you want to show me. Lord, so I was telling my dad days ago, Lord, Lord, I heard your voice, and Lord, you said, Lord, Elijah, look what I have for you. Lord, I pray that I would not, Lord, reject that invitation, Lord, but Lord, that I would hold your hand, Lord, and that we could walk together, Lord, in the life that you have for me. So, Lord, I pray that you would bless this journey, Lord, I've began to take. Lord, this journey won't be easy, but Lord, Lord, this is the most meaningful thing in life. Lord, I just pray that other distractions in life, Lord, would not hinder me, Lord, they would not overtake me.
Yes.
My priorities would be set, Lord, in stone or chiseled in my heart. Lord, that I don't even have to think about, Lord, what is my priority, because it is so obvious. Lord, so true. So I pray that that would be done. Pray you bless my family, Lord. I pray that you bless your people. Thank you for Emmanuel. Lord, I pray that I would realize, Lord, what a wonderful, what a powerful, Lord, time here at Saturdays I have. Lord, I feel like I have underestimated, Lord, the velocity of the importance of this time. Lord, I'm sorry for that, and Lord Emmanuel, I am sorry for that. If I
You're
have,
doing just fine, Elijah. You're
So, Lord, I
doing
pray
just
that-
fine. More than fine, excellently. Take time. Take time, okay, somewhere.
but yes, Lord, this time is so very important to me, Lord. Lord, I would not be anywhere without this time, Lord, anywhere without you, Lord. I pray that you would bless Emmanuel, Lord,
Thank you.
bless our people.
Thank you.
In Jesus' name.
Thank you. You make me almost teary, Elijah. No, bless him. Now that is a brother you can work with in life. Amen. Go ahead.
Lord, I do second, Lord, and fully say amen to Elijah's prayer, Lord, and the heart that was in and behind it. Lord, I pray that you, Lord, even as you do now, Lord, that you would hear, Lord, the cry of his heart to draw closer to you, or to walk side by side with you, Lord, to expand his perspective, Lord, the scope of his heart, Lord, to that which you have laid before him. Lord, the ways that in which you have blessed him with the people around him, Lord, the life that he has. Lord, I do thank you, Lord, and praise you, Father, and give you glory for, Lord, the submissive heart, Lord, that you are placing within Elijah, Lord, that you are creating and forming within him. Lord, I pray that this creation, Lord, would gain momentum within him, Father.
As guarantee you, Dan heard this prayer of yours, he gonna weep. Your mama gonna weep. Elijah's how powerful God can be. You know, this life-changing moments. We'll remember in our deathbed, you know. We'll remember when we discipline our children. Being a father, when you're troubled, exasperated by life, you remember the fundamentals. Your family will be blessed. All the friendship will be blessed. All relation will be blessed. Am I right? So. Lord, as the prayer Noah have, two of them have vision, will confirm the same thing, Lord. That is, they are your royal son, the princes. Today, thank you, Lord. They rejoice in that. It's not just mental understanding anymore. It's heart agreement. I am blessed by it. And they see the power of God's wisdom. Life-changing wisdom. It can change a generation, change a nation, change a lowly, finite, crooked man, a sinful man, to be a royal, free, righteous son of God. What a difference. Time and history, all the things heaped together in the world cannot produce that. Only you can, Lord. And we'll give you glory, give you praise, for it is before us, it's here, it's in this heart. Your law, your goodness, your wisdom, love, written in these hearts. Lord, I celebrate with you. I'm so pleased and thrilled to see them thrive, Lord. To go forth in goodness, in great capacity, Lord. I like the word Elijah mentioned, velocity, whatever. Thank you, Father, with your capacity, with your power, with your patience, meekness, wisdom, purity. Tell me each one of your visions and simplicity.
I just saw a vision of a lot of different things, just all pertaining to growth, just all pertaining to green and life. Like I saw sprouts, I saw seeds, I saw trees, grass, but all growing in like a fast motion, like you might see like in a documentary or something.
Yeah.
In like fast motion.
Yeah.
Saw like flowers blooming.
Yeah.
There's a lot of growth and growing.
Oh, bless the Lord. That's your life is growing, come out old form, almost like you cross over something, So like come to a new place, totally in your life. So Noah, go ahead.
My vision, I saw what looked like a line of soldiers back facing the back of each successive soldier. So one soldier was facing forward, and the soldier behind that was facing that soldier's back, and on and on and on.
Yeah. Only one line.
Yeah, just one line. Okay. And the amount of soldiers I saw in the vision were, I think, about 5 soldiers, but I think the line was very long, far longer than 5. And what I saw take place was each one with their left hand. They actually initially looked like bad soldiers, like ancient bad soldiers. So what I saw take place was almost like in a fluid, rapid motion. The first one rose a sword with his left hand. And then right after he did that, as if he was about to chop something down intentionally, the soldier behind him grabbed that sword and raised his hand just like that. The soldier behind him grabbed that sword. It was like this weird process where they were about to slice each other. Finally, it got to the 5th guy, I think, that was at the end of the line, and he raised his sword as if to chop the person in front of him, and then the process reversed, where all of a sudden, this last soldier, his garb changed into that of like a farmer. And he took behind him was no longer a sword, it was like a rake. So he got a rake. And so he was about to do something, and the soldier in front of him grabbed the rake, and his garb transformed into a farmer. And went all the way back down the line. So finally the person at the end was like a farmer.
Wow, that's so powerful.
So it was like
that's so powerful. Wow. That is so powerful. Tell me the scripture, if you will. There's 2 scriptures. There's a few instances in the Old Testament scripture repeat itself, especially in prophecy, but there's one. Isaiah 2 and Malachi 4. It's a word-to-word repetition. So, Isaiah 2. Elijah, why don't you read it for us from there? And you will know how powerful this is. Because it's not a small thing, this vision. Okay. Found it?
What verse?
It's from the whole chapter, Isaiah 2.
Start in the beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning to 5, maybe so.
The word that Isaiah the son of Amoz saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall pass in the latter days that the mountain of Jehovah's house shall be established on top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills.
What version you reading?
Yeah, you're reading.
Change it to NIV version, please. On top of the mountain, that's okay, but it's the chief of the mountains. Chief is chieftain, the king. Yeah?
Yeah, it was an ACV.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
There we go.
Because I didn't interpret this by my own interpretation. I saw visions of this in multiple times. Okay, mountain rise up, or the mountain bow down. So that's good.
Here, I'll start over. This is what Isaiah son of Amoz saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. In the last days, the mountain of the Lord's temple will be established. As the highest of the mountains, it will be exalted above the hills, and all the nations will stream to it. Many peoples will come and say, "Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the temple of the God of Jacob. He will teach us his ways, so that we may walk in his paths." The law will go out from Zion, the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. He will judge between the nations, and he will settle disputes for many peoples. They will beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks.
That's crazy.
Nation will not take up sword against nation, nor will they train for war anymore. Come, descendants of Jacob, let us walk in the light of the Lord.
That's amazing. That's a powerful vision.
Man.
That's what's happening, right? So, yeah. How many men before in line? 5?
There are many, I think, but the process I saw take place had to do with, I think, about 5. Yeah.
5. Well, interesting. Not like the vision much of that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, finish. We'll have more time an hour, but I think it's very meaningful. I'm blessed right now. Word beyond can't even speak in words. So I'm blessed by you. What you share, Elijah. Thank you for sharing that. So continue finish your reading now.
Okay, so we're on page 48 now. Here we have a clear case of Confucius taking a critical look at the rites. He concluded that in one case he was prepared to follow the majority, but not in the other. He came to this conclusion by going back to the principles underlying the rites concerned. In the second case, the underlying principle is respect, while in the other first case, there is frugality as well. What does that word mean?
Frugal. Frugality means to save cost,
That respect should be the underlying principle of the right only to be expected, but that frugality should be such a principle may seem surprising until we remember Confucius' answer to a question about the basis of the rites. Part of this answer was, with the rites, it is better to err on the side of frugality than on the other side of extravagance. All things being equal, it is better to be frugal. The black silk cap is more frugal, but loses nothing in respect. Hence, Confucius' approval. Prostration, after ascending the steps, on the other hand, is casual. In other words, less respectful, has no compensating gains. Hence, Confucius' disapproval. As we have seen, precepts are often introduced by the formula.
Interpretation can be multitude, but the major way is actually one is external stuff, the other is inner attitude. So, so something you can do, so that's major. So Confucius' word care about the heart, the understanding heart of the person. So, yeah. we should do when do things in a formal way. Things it's not the formality really matters. It's the heart matters. So formality needed because life need order, need attention, need a certain pace, need a certain occasions. So yeah.
I've heard it said very often. However, this formula is dispensed with, particularly in cases where the precept is to be exclaimed. In such cases, the question, "What do you think of this saying?" is simply posed. For instance, Zhu Kung said, "Poor without being obsequious, wealthy without being arrogant. What do you think of this saying?" The master said, "That will do, but better still, poor yet diligent in the way."
Delighting.
Poor yet delighting in the way, wealthy yet observant of the rites.
Let's stop there. Let no one continue, please. I'm sorry.
Here the precept cited by Tzu Kung concerns the overcoming of poverty and wealth as obstacles to a moral character. Confucius examines the precept in this spirit and proposes an improved version. Someone said, "Repay an injury with a good turn. What do you think of the saying?" The master said, "What then do you repay a good turn with? You repay an injury with straightness, but you repay a good turn with a good turn." Here Confucius is criticizing the existing precept, repay an injury with a good turn, for being overgenerous, leaving nothing with which to repay a good turn. It is enough, in Confucius's view, that we should not be motivated by vindictiveness. What Confucius is advocating is the middle way between vindictiveness and excessive generosity.
What vindictive means, Elijah, you know the word? Okay. Seeking vindication, like seeking revenge, so not happy try to teach us a lesson, let me teach you a lesson, that kind of thing, sorry. Nasty little habit, so bad.
Yeah. From these examples, where Confucius examined existing precepts critically, we can glean something of his general approach to the problem of the rule and the principle. In Confucius's day, if one were to state the problem, it would be natural to state it in terms of li, the rights, and yi, rightness. We have already touched on the relationship between the two in the context of the morality of acts and agents. Now we shall take a closer look at this relationship. The rights are a code of rules and behavior. Although as something handed down from antiquity, the rights carried great authority. Nevertheless, this authority cannot guarantee their rightness. Whether they are right or not depends on whether they measure up to the demands of rightness. Rightness, on the other hand, is the standard by which all acts have, in the last resort, to be measured. Thus, there is an intimate relationship between li and yi. Confucius's critical examination of existing precepts is precisely the subjection of rules to the yardstick of rightness. But why should a rule, which had been found right in the past, be subjected to fresh scrutiny? The answer is this. First, a rule once formulated in precise terms cannot adapt itself to changing circumstances. What was right in a previous age need not continue to be right in a subsequent age. This awareness that rules have to keep pace with the changing times is clearly felt by Confucius. He said, "The yin built on the rights of the xia. What was added and what was omitted can be known. The chao built on the rights of the yin. What was added and what was omitted can be known." Here we can see that although the rights of the subsequent age were based on those of the previous one, because of the lapse of time, new rules had to be added and obsolete ones omitted. This awareness that what is appropriate changes with the times was one of the outstanding features of Confucius's thought. So much that Mencius describes him as the sage whose actions were timely. Second, circumstances may arise.
圣人成事而动 means
Yeah.
acting on the proper time, so.
It's interesting, yeah. Second, circumstances may arise where one rule comes into conflict with another. Such a conflict can only be resolved by appealing to basic moral principle. Third, even with a rule which may be satisfactory in itself, there are occasions when where the observance of it conflicts with the spirit behind the rule. For all these reasons, one has to be constantly on the alert to the possibility that a rule may need rethinking at any moment and on any occasion. So far, we have only looked at the problem from the point of view of the subordination of rule to principle.
Subordination, tell me again what that means.
To fall under in priority or
subjection.
importance. Equally, principle cannot do without rules which give it effect. Moral principles need to be put into effect, and any act that puts a moral principle into effect will, in fact, be an exemplification of some rule or other. This is, as we have seen, particularly so where the purpose of an act is to show a certain attitude. For example, respect. No action is inherently a sign of respect. An action can only serve to show respect given a certain convention, and a convention can only be stated in a rule. Thus, while a rule can remain right only if it is constantly measured against the demands of principles, a principle cannot do without rules if it is to be put into effect. This dialogue between rule and principle constitutes the essence of Confucius's moral thinking. In this connection, Confucius's approach may have something to offer in the debate whether morals are objective or conventional. The argument runs something like this. If morality is conventional, it has no objectivity. One can only judge moral rules within the conventions of a given social system of which they form part.
There you go. We got to the tribe who are cannibals. Do they think kill people, eating people is bad?
Right.
Not really, right? So they don't think murder is bad. But you go to Jewish culture, murders or other culture, today you don't put a serious criminal to death, right? We don't give, what is called the capital punishment. So, so then everybody said you advocate us to punish somebody with capital punishment. It's almost like you're a bad person to begin with, right? So
right.
So just think about it. So not either one. I don't prefer it. Surely I hated the people kill others. So we're talking about it. It's like these two extremes, So, but everybody in it. Do you think everybody's bad people? The individual member. Let's drag it out. Is that person just bad because he grew up in that culture? Don't know better, So he has his own set of right or wrongs, his own set of honor and good, right? So
yeah.
Interesting, huh? Yeah.
It's interesting because you can so easily be confined by theological thinking in this regard, though, because instantly you're like, well, anyone who's born is initially born a sinner, and good is defined by God himself.
Yeah.
So if they do not know God, they are therefore...
You guys don't know the difference. I know the difference because I, as a Christian, come here. You can feel the prejudice about Westerners, about Chinese culture. For Chinese people, it's always there. I don't, for whatever reason, it's there. So it's like it's Asian culture, and there's ways carry on. Even it's a bad nation to begin with, it's communist. Who told you it's communist all through? So individually different. As a whole, the people is not bad people, right? So you understand my point, but the propaganda, the culture, the prejudice, the education carried doesn't really help. So it's in China. Communists continue towards paint a bad picture of America. It takes a lot of time for us back in China for me to change gears. Said, you know what? That's all a lie. That's just a propaganda. Surely Washington is at least better than Mao Zedong, our greatest leader, So he did not kill that a lot of people, so he don't have pride, So I'm talking, certainly American Constitution, the way their nation formed, is more noble and effective than whatever Chinese try to do, So I'm just talking, okay? to effectiveness, okay? So, and nothing to do with the law, the code. It has to do with the people who are doing it behind it, what kind of people we have here. So the same law to one person, as Confucius actually said, if you have the law, well, if the law is just law. Today's law, you don't have a Lincoln as a lawyer. Most lawyers are crooks, liars. So you want them to tell you, I am the interpreter of the law, and we do today. And those people flood into the political thing, become leaders. So by nature, they practice laws from a very crooked environment. We're selfish, maneuvering, bandstanding, whatever they can to win the case, whatever. There's no really standard. Win. In the political thing, they're going to win. Who told you it's doing justice about winning the case? This win. It's justice. It's justice. You're crooked. You are wrong. You have nothing to do with justice. You're not a lawyer. You're the things the law defined as against the law. So is Paul speaking about this. When the Pharisees, the political powers in his day, with Jesus going on prior, the crooks, just like today's lawyer was, in the body lawyers. I would think this one nation now is becoming every nation. Which is a norm. Which is a norm. When a righteous voice, a sensible voice, a reasonable voice, a wise voice, if you will, they can't even rise up to be acknowledged anymore. And in this nation, who are the noisy ones? Are the good people, to be honest? Are they good people? Just thinking about it. If they're not good people, why would I believe what he said? Why would I want him to lead me? Unless I'm not good. I'm crooked. I'm biased. I have my selfish agenda. I'm just not really for the nation. Then don't use the name of the nation. This is what we're talking about. You're hypocrites. You're hypocrites. You say you love the nation, love the people. Actually, everything about you is for yourself. You're hypocrites. Instead, you paint it outside. Oh, while good, but inside full of dead man's bones, whatever, rot basically to the core. Now, why Roman world falling down? The thing's pretty good, they're very strong, right? What are they falling down? The ruler began to corrupt, rot. Literally, rot to the core. Rot. You have one most beautiful philosopher, virtuous man, called the one we call the road of meditation. In the story Gladiators and movie, remember the father? He was a good man. He has a crooked son. Yeah, the son was so wicked, right? So the father was so foolish. He went out all the world doing all his things, be the leader of the nation. But he had the son subject to education in the court, in a very corrupt court, and to a corrupt wife. So the son's literally in the den of thieves, robbers, and crooked. So he expects his son gonna embrace his destiny, embrace his standard. It's Greek thoughts. It's unbelievable foolish sometimes thinking. It's just by teaching you, by giving you the books, by just signing somebody to teach you. I don't know. No, Cicero. Cicero is the greatest politician, one of the most virtuous and most, what it seems the wisest, good man. I don't know which empire. Maybe Nero or something. He was like a father to Nero or some emperor. Okay. So when he grew up, eventually the young man would call him a father. You're my father. You're my father. So he was highly honored. Best senate, the whole history of Roman world. The first senate, most famous senate, is the Cicero. He's the wisest man. Okay, the best man. He had every opportunity to discipline and train the young man. He did. And after the young man grew up, he wanted his own way. He killed Cicero. Can you believe that? A teacher, you have all the opportunity to train a godly young man and respect you by namely, then grow up to be such a wicked person will kill you because you get his way. Now, may I ask you, how foolish this mind is? You think Greek thoughts is good, and how foolish is two persons? They were intelligent, were achieving, but they bought into the idea by being lofty, articulate, active, heroic, whatever it is. Then I able to serve my nation, and surely the young people will rise up doing good, right things, right? Because they understand everything I'm thinking. They agree with me. They respect that. But they refuse to discipline the small things, the hard insult of a young man. Oh, they will get someday. That's okay. I relax. It's they are still my beloved students, young whatever. They will never do trouble. I'm not trying to scare you guys, okay? Just limited examples. And that's two major blues. You got the best teacher, best opportunity to have a rightful ruler. In every reason should be good. But the bad education, they did all they did, but they refused to invest in the young man, grow to be a cut or whatever, in a sensible young man. And the two major blues to the Roman world. I don't know much of history, but so the two characters literally destroyed the Roman world, Roman government, Roman culture. Everyone meticulous struggle built. Eventually, these two gentlemen think it's so wise that history still praise them. To me, they're fools. Because they're fathers. They're wise. They have every opportunity to raise up a good, sensible young man. They have everybody. They have everything available to them. And don't tell me that wise people. But the culture carries on because they did so many things. They have so many speeches, eloquent, they're smart. They have a lot of books, whatever, knowledgeable person. But you know what? They don't know how to discipline and train a young ruler, which matters. Their whole life is about that. So don't tell me princely teachings. A simple matter is a whole book with this, is God given to teach a world-wise prince. You need whole long takes or hard takes. For David trying to narrow down, said, I need really a good song to get. Absalom almost killed him, right? One song. Destroy everything he built and got blessed with. That's one foolish song. I'm not trying to add a burden to you. I'm talking about you take on this heart of God and be a David. Be a good father. Right? When your children grow up, never apologize. Discipline them in the rightful way. You don't want to exasperate or overburden them. I hope your dad or we didn't do that, right? But I think we have a basic discernment wisdom to say, okay, something major. Your heart condition is major. Your vision for life is major. We can't let everybody just take hold. Okay, let's like a molding of of mud and right shape you out of any kind of vessel. As if you just terrible mud. Next day I pick another one and shape it another do what I want. But there are fools around your lives doing exactly that. That think that they have no difference. A huge difference. The difference is somebody treated like a prince, like a son of God. And they will see the difference. Are you kidding me? It's a world difference. Somebody treated me like a Solomon, like a David. Would I not see that difference? Would dare think I has even an opportunity to think I have an impact on that? I'm just talking to you. But no, I have my life, my good wisdoms. This is a prideful, presumptuous way of thinking. Refuse acknowledge the living will of the Lord in each one's lives. That's called rebellion. And selfish. Pride. Everything you can think about God. And you want honor, respect? There's no. God hate it. God despise it. God said that is dangerous. That is destroy my young ones. No, we didn't do that. We love them. We care about them. I'm telling you a certain character in your life. Okay, so no, they destroy your life. I'm telling the truth. I'm not lying. Just like that young lad when he was a prince, Nero, oh that young man. Why we doing good? We do that. Well, look at what they grew up into. Now today you have a sensible heart as a young man. Look at your friends, look at your peers, look at the ones even before you, the generation that in your day. How many have a wise heart? How many even care and cherish to have a wise heart? I'm just talking, I'm not trying to lay hold on you guys too much burden, but you are a generation mark to make a difference. That's a beautiful thing. That's the best fulfillment in life. I'm going to tell you to young people, okay? When you think about career endeavors, well, the greatest gift and greatest blessing and greatest joy in life is to be a teacher of God's way and God's wisdom. Highest honor. There's no other better honor in the whole world, in the whole human history. No. Kings had less. Nations subdue, even to be judged by it. So, am I right? The angel will be judged. So think about it. If you have some reckoning of that in your young heart, you will never despise wisdom. You'll never walk truly like, okay, it's okay, I can teach the Bible. I can teach wisdom. Really? And knowledge will do, experience will not do. It's this endowment. It's burning heart of God and cherishing his heart, his ways. And you don't want ever to be treated lightly and defiled. Right? That's what God demanded on all mankind. No one else dare to cross that line for his holiness. We have Christianity, we're unhealthy about it, but I'm talking to you. Now if it's the highest honor, no one. Elijah, it's the highest honor to be a teaching the way of God, the word of God. So what do you do when you're young age? Love the word of the Lord not because it can benefit you. Treat it as the greatest profession, if you will. Seize every opportunity to teach people the will of God. So then you can practice it. You learn astrology, what do? You want the tools, you investigate, you go out there, look at it, exactly what's going on. So it's not head knowledge, right? Book knowledge. Now what about you learn spiritual things, wisdom of God? You did a good job this morning to do that. Excellent. You can see how much impact over a young man's life. You change something fundamentally, forever. And we think, it's talking, no, it's true. You look in all evaluation, you can see it's true, right? God created the opportunity. Then we walk in common sense, we never notice it. But if you walk in this lane of thinking, this perspective, you can always see, oh, yeah, I know exactly why it happened. I'm waiting for the moment. Yeah, you might think it's strange because I prayed. I said, okay, what about the Benji? Where we are now? Elijah, that sounds crazy, or it's always happened like that. So, I may be out of overburden. I will tell you, something can be so powerful, so great, so immensely adventurous and fulfilling. Look at your dad. One of the amazing attributes of your dad is amazing. He loved the word God. He never stopped interested to share what God has. The more you give, the more will be given to you. The more you have, the more you will have more. It's the engine of God, life, and God's wisdom. If you don't do it this way, you will always think, why this happened? Then you will turn your mind, try to do other things, rather you treat it like a life, you know? The air you breathe is the thing you do. I'm just talking to you. No, in the prayer actually. So bless the Lord. I want you guys to hold up your hand and come into the Lord to ask Him, maybe, if you will, to at least offer to Him, so Lord, I want to be a teacher of your word more than a student. I want to be a teacher of your ways. But as highest honor, that's why His anointing come to Aaron, come to David. Because that's what anointing is all about. Is to be able to be a teacher or expressing God's ways and God's word. Go ahead.
Lord, I do, Lord, express the deep desire in my heart for this to be, Lord, a reality in my life. Lord, for you to bring about, Lord, an ability, Lord, a capability to teach your word, Lord, to let others know about your way and your life, Lord, the truth of who you are and what your purpose is. Lord, you have even enabled, Lord, those instances already in my life to put those things into practice. Lord, and I have never, Lord, not to speak personally of how I feel as if that is important, but Lord, truly I have never felt, Lord, or recognized such a fulfillment as in those moments, Lord, to inspire another life, Lord, to see your Spirit work through me and into another. Lord, I feel no glory in myself at all, Lord, but it gives me in those moments, Lord, the chance to see your power, Lord, your glory and majesty.
Yes.
Lord, the true intent of what you desire to see.
Thank you, Lord.
Going on in the midst of your people, Lord, and unto others.
Wow.
So, Lord, I do pray that this is something that grows, Lord, both in my life, Lord, in Elijah's life, Lord, if he so desires it, Lord, if you would work that within his life, Lord, in each one of us, Lord, that so have been called by you to do so. So, Lord, I do pray for your blessing over this in Jesus' name. Lord, that it would thrive within us. Lord, that it would truly be, Lord, a true and burning desire within our hearts. Lord, something that surpasses all lesser desires. Lord, because it entails the destiny that you have set out before us. So, Lord, I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Testimony. I have read so many books and know so many people personally, or by study, whatever. I know what I got. The Bible is precious. It's full of life. There's no better books than the Bible, and then certain books. In the beginning, I told you guys, so, because this is nothing better than those things. So never treat it as a school for thoughts, a school of study, so treat it either as like a life, so like a bee, you can't do without honey, with the things, so without flowers. So pay the due diligence. Bee can travel miles, go somewhere to find the flower, to get that little tiny thing, then bring the honey. Eventually, then you eat the honey, what have you. You know how much effort the bee and put in for the honey to be formed. So be not a busy bee, but be that kind of productive bee, so get the essence of the things and store it and make it sweet and good. Anyway, finish your reading, so.
There is no way of adjudicating between different systems. On the other hand, if morality is objective, how we come to know these objective realities poses epistemological problems. Confucius's approach seems to offer a way out. All moral rules have implicit in them some principle or principles. A rule can thus always be judged by its success in realizing these principles. In other words, moral rules have built-in standards by which they can be judged. If they are found wanting, this points to the way of their improvement. On the other hand, the implicit principles are ideals which become clear to us as they are used as standards to criticize the rules. We gain greater insight into a moral principle by discovering the inadequacies of the rules which give it effect.
That's true, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from reflecting on moral insights of the past, thinking also is important if we are to be able to see connections between phenomena that may seem unconnected at first sight. We have seen that this is important both in the sphere of literature and in the sphere of morals. In literature, we have seen that the odes can stimulate the imagination so that we can see underlying similarities between disparate phenomena. In morals, it is by means of the method of shu that we can hope to be able to practice benevolence. And shu consists in using ourselves as analogy to find out about the likes and dislikes of other human beings.
Shu means the word is thinking in others' situation, like forgiveness, like accommodations. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So basically putting yourself in another's shoes in a sense?
Yeah, it's like you can't really sympathize somebody until you live his life.
Sympathize.
Yeah, exactly. Empathize. Yeah. So you can sympathize, but you can emphasize. The two words huge difference sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Go ahead. Explain the difference a little bit. Anybody?
Sympathizing. I know I'm saying, I just don't know if I'm using the right words, but like there's a way of feeling, like some people say, like I feel you, which means like I know, or like I can imagine what you're going through. But it's different when you have experienced what someone else is experiencing, so you know, it's like I know what you're going through.
What you're really going through,
And then
So what would that be? Which word? Empathy or sympathy?
that'd be sympathizing, because empathizing is
the first is
imagining
Yeah.
that you can.
Yeah, the next one is emphasize, and right? So, emphasize is know what you experience.
So sympathy is like sync, so like synchronization. That's what the word is based off of. So that's why sympathy is to relate in feeling with the other person. So you know, you have felt and experienced what they're going through.
Yeah.
Empathy is to empathize is to express your genuinely express your feeling to what someone is going through, even though you haven't directly experienced it. So there's not a relation in feeling.
Is that right?
But
So
there is an expressed condolence. in a sense.
Empathizing would be like comforting somebody. Like maybe you haven't gone through what they do, but you can still comfort them.
This must my English have problems, and I often think it's sympathize. Correctly, okay. It's more about, relate to people on the emotional or situational levels, right? So it's definitely needed. But empathy is more thinking. Let's just say somebody commit a crime, he locked in jail. Can you go there with this guy? That's this thinking. Okay, I will sympathize, I will cry with you. I feel bad for you. But if I empathize him, I would think, man, if I grew up in a ghetto, I have bad parents, hung around with those guns, whatever,
Oh, that's strange. I think I got it mixed up actually.
I don't know.
You're right, I think.
Yeah, where I'm gonna end up with. I might end up behind the bars, rather than outside the bars.
I just thought it might be sympathy because sympathy is same as like I don't know.
It's actually the other way around, I think. Empathy is to relate in feeling with another person, while sympathy is to express sorrow for someone else's misfortune.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
So very good. Yes.
Well, we were explaining the right thing. It's just
exactly. It's hard to define.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. So there you go. Go ahead. That's what it means. Emphasize is the word shu means.
Right.
Yeah.
Confucius would not tolerate any student who, because he failed to think, was unable to discover new applications for known principles. He said, "When I have pointed out one corner of a square to anyone and he does not come back with the other three, I will not point it out to him a second time."
Repeat that again. I lost that one.
When I have pointed out one corner of a square to anyone, and he does not come back with the other 3, I will not point it out to him a second time.
That's interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Why? Explain why. It's like he refused to learn, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's the wrong heart.
Yeah,
of-
he's just
wrong
not
kind of
interested in
student
learning
approach.
at all. Yeah. You can't really teach somebody who don't want to be taught, and right?
Yeah.
Don't want to think. So, yeah, good.
Confucius is even harsher than Paul. Paul will give you
I
3 or
know.
7 times, but Confucius only gives you 1.
Forgive the difference, but teaching something,
Yeah.
you have the wrong attitude. You
Yeah.
just don't want to be a student. That's a different story, man. So,
Right, right.
Yeah. Can you pour water into? The Bible said, can you pour oil into a stone? Somebody's like a stone, right? So hard and so. The Bible said, harden the heart of callously with their senses. It's like stone. It will foolish for anyone to try to pour oil into a stone. So,
Right.
but a cup was, or a jar with, ready to pour. Give me more.
Yes.
So, go ahead. Yeah.
Indeed, Confucius believed so much in the value of the student making the utmost effort to think things out for himself that he said on the same occasion, I never enlighten anyone who has not been driven to distraction by trying to understand a difficulty or has not got into a frenzy trying to put his ideas into words. We have seen that Confucius praised Su Xia as someone worth discussing the odes with. In praising Su Kun, in similar vein, he added this remark, tell such a man something, and he can see its relevance to what he has not been told.
Yeah.
This is also the quality essential to a teacher. A man is worthy of being a teacher who gets to know what is new by keeping fresh in his mind what he is already familiar with.
Yeah. Jesus said, bring the treasure old
Yeah.
and new.
I remember we talked about that with him.
Really? Okay, good.
Intelligence is something Confucius valued greatly. His highest praise was reserved for Yin Hui, who was not only superior to his fellow disciples in moral attainment, but also in intelligence. When Su Kung, who was himself a man of no mean intelligence, remarked, how dare I compare myself with Hui? When he is told one thing, he understands 10. When I am told one thing, I understand only 2.
That's very healthy, huh? Cooled up, right? So it's not a bad thing. So it's a very healthy thing. Western culture these days, don't tell us students are different. Don't even test them, So.
And then the teacher, Confucius says,
Yeah.
Confucius consoled him by saying, you are not as good as he is. Neither of us is good as he is.
Wow.
I remember that.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not as good as you. When I was young, man, I'm nowhere near you guys. So it was unbelievers. Lazy.
Confucius was both a great thinker and a great human being.
Yeah.
As a thinker, he held up an ideal for all men. This consisted of perfecting one's own moral character. Realizing this ideal involves not only being benevolent to other individuals, but also working unstingingly for the welfare of the common people. For this, Confucius could hold out no hope of a reward either in this life or in the next. The reward lies in the doing of what is good, and this constitutes the joy of following the way. He had great respect for the wisdom of the past, but he did not accept it uncritically. For him, the only way of making progress is to reflect on what he has been handed down to us from the past. On what has been handed down to us from the past. He was anything but dogmatic. He refused to entertain conjectures or insist on uncertainty. Sorry.
Can you believe he actually is a man who refuses to be dogmatic?
Yeah.
Think about the poet, right? We're rigid, right? Instruction were straightforward. The poet was not a dogmatic person either,
Yeah.
So it's Jesus. So never give up the standard, but he's not dogmatic. Isn't that amazing?
That's what I remember from, really the first few years of Paul's conversion from
Yes.
what Jesus Christ did in his life. at least the biography I was reading, he went through a time where he actually spent a lot of time with pagans in the sense that the people around him were like really criticized the things that he began to do, which were things that he would never do as a strict Jew. Reading certain books, doing certain things with those people. But it was not anything.
It was well versed in Greek culture, in Greek philosophy, thoughts.
It was about a way of life and a mindset and heart that was transformed within him, or was being transformed within him.
Yeah,
and it was about dogmaticism.
Yeah. He definitely is a man of truth and seeking wisdom, so even in the wrong way, so those days. Go ahead.
For him, the only way of making progress is to reflect on what has been handed down to us from the past. He was anything but dogmatic. He refused to entertain conjectures or insist on certainty. He refused to be inflexible or to be egotistical. In characterizing himself, he said, "I have no preconceptions about the permissible and the impermissible. It cannot be denied that, over the centuries, Confucianism acquired a lot of dogmas and helped and developed authoritarian tendencies. But it would be as grossly unfair to lay at Confucius' door as to blame Jesus for the excesses of the church in later ages."
Oh, is that right? That's crazy.
What is he saying? It would be grossly unfair to lay these.
Wow, that's
very perceptive.
Very perceptive. Yeah, absolutely true, man. Just like you can't blame Moses for the Pharisees were nice. So,
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it is kind of because you see all these different denominations and thoughts spring from.
Yeah, it's
one
common.
person.
It's a common. Yeah, it's a very common phenomenon. That's it.
No, we're still.
Oh, please. Yeah.
We have.
Beside me.
We're finishing this page 1, 2, and that's it.
Okay, great.
Confucius was modest about his own achievement.
Because I lost my attention.
Yeah.
Joking. Okay. No, I'm very excited about what you're reading.
Confucius was modest about his own achievement.
Yeah.
He said, "How dare I claim to be a sage or a benevolent man?" In spite of this modesty, he must have realized his own ideal to a great extent. Otherwise, it would be impossible to account for the reverence and affection shown him by his disciples, who were widely different in talent and temperament. Yen Hui, who was outstanding in morals and intelligence, said, when Confucius thought he had died in an armed siege, "While you, master, are alive, how would I dare to die?" He described the ideal of the master in his method of teaching as follows: "The more I look up at it, the higher it appears.
杨子逆高啊。
The more I bore into it," sorry, I'm reading kind of weird. "The more I bore into it, the harder it becomes. I see it before me. Suddenly, it is behind me. The master is good at leading one on step." Why am I reading so weird? I'm sorry. "The master is good at leading one on step by step. He broadens me with culture and brings me back to essentials by means of the rites. I cannot give up, even if I wanted to.
Wow.
But, having done all I can, it seems to rise sheer above me, and I have no way of going after it, however much I may want to."
What an amazing personality.
Yeah. Tzu Kung, the man of the world who had a successful career both as a diplomat and as a merchant, made this comment when someone disparaged Confucius. Chung Ni.
He was the richest man in his time.
Oh,
Can
wow.
you believe that? Richest man.
Yeah. Chung Ni cannot be defamed. In other cases, men of excellence are like hills which one can climb over. Chung Ni is like the sun and the moon, which one has no way of climbing over.
众星而共子啊。
Even if someone wanted to cut himself off from them, how could this detract from the sun and the moon?
Yeah.
It would merely serve the more to show that he did not know his own measure.
Wow.
He further said, "The master cannot be equaled, just as the sky cannot be scaled. In life he is honored, and in death he will be mourned. How can he be equaled? Sun Tzu, the disciple who took his moral responsibilities so seriously, said, according to the Mencius, this of Confucius: "Washed by the river and the Han, bleached by the autumn sun, so immaculate was he that this whiteness could not be surpassed." Mencius echoed this sentiment. He said, "Ever since man came into this world, there has never been one greater than Confucius."
Wow, that's a crazy statement there.
Yeah. For his part, Confucius never claimed to be either superior in intelligence or in moral qualities. He said, "I was not born with knowledge, but being fond of antiquity, I am quick to seek it." And, "In a hamlet of 10 households, there are bound to be those who are my equal in doing their best for others and in being trustworthy in what they say. But they are unlikely to be as eager to learn as I am."
See the keys one? Learn.
Yeah. In both sayings, all he would claim was his eagerness to learn. This was matched only by his eagerness to teach.
Yes.
He said, "Quietly to store up knowledge in my mind, to learn without flagging, to teach without growing weary, these present me with no difficulties." Again, in denying he was a sage, he said, "Perhaps it might be said of me that I learn without flagging and teach without growing weary."
学而不殆，诲而不倦. That's what they say. Never
That's-
tired of learning, never tired of teaching. So.
Yeah. As a teacher, he was capable of both criticizing his disciples with firmness as well as speaking to them in jest. When Tsai Yu took a nap in the daytime, Confucius said, "A piece of rotten wood cannot be carved, nor can a wall of dried dung be troweled."
朽木不可雕也，
That's hilarious.
粪土之常不可弃也，什么不可使也。
Again, when the same disciple doubted the wisdom of the 3-year mourning period, Confucius said, "How unfeeling Yu is! Was Yu not given 3 years' love by his parents?" On the occasion Confucius went to Wu Qiang and found Su Yu teaching the people music, he poked fun at him by saying, "Surely you don't need to use an ox knife to kill a chicken."
杀鸡也有牛肉。
When Su Yu took this seriously and started defending his action, Confucius admitted that he was only joking.
Sometimes that happens, right? The teacher demand oftentimes a little bit, that's
It was a
not-
joke.
It was a joke. Yeah. Can you imagine somebody teaching higher knowledge to people just don't know anything about music? So. Go ahead.
The predominant impression one gets of Confucius from the Analects is a man whose life was full of joy. When the governor of Xi asked Su Lu what kind of man Confucius was, Su Lu made no answer. Confucius's comment was, "Why did you not simply say something to this effect?" He is the sort of man who forgets to eat when he tries to solve a problem that has been driving him to destruction, who is so full of joy that he forgets his worries and who does not notice the onset of his old age.
Yeah, in the beginning, the whole book, Analects said, 有朋自远方来，不亦乐乎? Means their friends come up from far away, try to discuss things with you. Is that not most joyful? His joy is in fellowship, so in teaching, so in learning.
He describes this joy in more concrete terms when he said, "In the eating of coarse rice and the drinking of water, the using of one's elbow for a pillow, joy is to be found. Wealth and rank attained through immoral means have as much to do with me as passing clouds."
如浮云，功名于我如浮云矣，浮云儿。Sorry, it's like a cloud, don't fly away. It doesn't mean anything.
There is no doubt that part of this joy came from the pursuit of the way. Confucius said, "At 70, I followed my heart's desire without overstepping the line." When after a lifetime of moral cultivation,
You might not quote that to your dad, to your grandpa, because he.
when after a lifetime of moral cultivation, he found that what he desired naturally coincided with what was moral. That he should have experienced joy is understandable. But the joy was not confined to the moral side of his life. On the occasion when he was with a group of disciples, Confucius asked them to state what they would like to do. When they had finished, Confucius showed his sympathies were with Chung Tzu, who said, "In the late spring, after the spring clothes have been newly made, I should like, together with 5 or 6 adults and 6 or 7 boys, go bathing in the river Yi and enjoy the breeze on the rain altar, and then to go home chanting poetry."
Yes. Can we do that? Yeah.
Here is a man who indeed appreciated the joys of living.
Yeah. He says that's the best moment.
Yeah.
The best.
Anyone who has read the sayings of Confucius carefully and without prejudice will surely find it difficult to recognize the die-hard conservative and art villain that he has sometimes been made out to be.
That's all false presentation. Yeah.
Confucius is, perhaps, yet another instance of the proverbial prophet. That's the end.
I'm sorry. That's the end. Yeah.
I really like how I finished that.
Ah, nice. Right. Very nice. You're talking about the person. No? I like the introductions were substantial. Give us a lot of material to discuss. So.
A lot.
Well, yeah, a lot, exactly. I'm sorry for the distraction, but it inspired me, Just give me some ready things to talk. Well, Elijah, I'm so impressed by your heart, the recent growth, so evidence that growth is not getting enough words. The recent fundamental change, transformation in your life. I want to acknowledge that and compliment you on that. There are things you can praise, whatever, but if this kind of things really need that is a huge, that's major. Thank you for give us the opportunity. It's a gift for us, I guess, to witness it, so for your dad and me, hopefully, have the Father's heart towards you. There's no greater joy than to see you guys thrive in life, in the will of God, in the right way. Now, talking about the joy. Think about if you live a life, have bad conscience, right? Guilty, selfish, all kinds of things that is a little bit of, it's not right, right? Can you have joy, really joy? I mean, eventually you don't have joy. It's just something that rob you, right? So, sin consciousness do that to people. You can have all the endowment, have all the experiences, but it's nothing. Like Solomon did in Exodus, he would have everything, right? So he was not a happy person. So you have another kind, like a Jesus, like simple people, like Jesus is a group of people, right? So they have all hardships, all problems, There's personal struggle as well. Yet somehow they attain to maintain a clean conscience. This continue sin, stumble, continue struggle, but they listen. Oh, okay. I'm not going to live under guilt or sinful nature, sinful consciousness. I want to be a free man and be free. I don't want to own anybody. I don't misuse anybody. I don't rob anybody. I don't think evil to intend evil, to get ahead by maneuver, by using my talents or gifts in a bad way, right? So cheating people, bully people, whatever the word, So if it comes, honor, successes, because it comes like a river flow down to the valley, and it's like a seed grew into and it's supposed to happen, right? So you don't let it go wrong. It's just like a cloud. It's a good way. So you have a different state in the inner being. You always comfort in your skin, you know, confident in your guts, in your bones, you know. So the world can do nothing to you. What man has to do with me, you know, what the man can see, you know, the Bible continue to tell about. So you would think this is easy to take. Evidently, whether in the Bible being here, evidently it got a lot of inner search, inner struggles come on the other side. The Bible called overcoming your sinful nature, being a free man from sin consciousness, sin consciousness in the Bible. And you have a heavenly destiny. You have the whole world in your heart to help. Everybody before you. You try to do your best. You know, but that means I don't lay down standard. You know, so I'm not going to lie about what I feel. I have a high I wear a strong opinion. Actually, my opinion matters to God. Angels I don't pay, in my opinion, or my decisions, right? So angels understand and give glory to God because I'm. So your anger is not your selfish anger. Your upset, your grievance is not selfish. In the sense, your joy is not, hey, I got something, you know. So you have a free life, a big life. You meaning that? You know, people live a so small life like a puddle of water. You not even get you worry about the puddle of water, how much you got, how to keep it clean, right? Stuff like that. A little puddle of water. Never found the fountainhead. And then, you know, ocean water, right? So you see my point? And so Jesus' life is abundant life, but he can't get the source. Then become the ocean in due time. Can you imagine a life like that? A life like that? Limitless, right? Ever flowing. Always pure. I don't need to worry about to keep it pure. It's by nature, it is a full life that is going to get it pure. I don't worry about today how to get it all together. I know in due time, everything will get together. What a life. I wish I could get a hold of this truth when I was really thinking the Lord. Because so many people use the Bible wrongly, use God wrongly, try to tell you even the best wisdom, good intent. But they are not free. They're not getting the real picture. They don't have a divine connection really happening in their life with God. What have you? They can only give what they have, right? So, but I wish you can get God so full and you will be able, those kind of teachers always point people to the source and let them become an ocean, right? Enjoy ocean fellowship. Hey, we are oceans, you know. No point fingers. Oh, your water is so small, you're dirty. So, well, be ocean people, right? Be the source people. That's what Son of God is about. Abandon life I give to you. Without you letting you pray for us. That's encouraged by you guys. Okay, thank you.
Amen. Mm-hmm. Yes, Lord, I thank you for this time. Thank you for the teachings, Lord. I pray that you would apply these things to our life, Lord, that we would apply them to our life. Lord.
Never have a mean spirit in your life. Never have a mean heart. The word I heard is vindictive. That is a nasty thing. Go ahead.
Yes, Lord. Pray that we would always have hearts with grace and forgiveness, Lord. But Lord, also, Lord, righteous judgment, Lord, and teaching.
Yes.
Lord, for those who need you, Lord, who need to know you. Lord, that you would bring those to you. Lord, that good work would be done in each one's life. So, Lord, I thank you for this time. I thank you for the change in my life. Lord, I pray that you would bless it. Lord, I pray that you would bless each one here. Thank you for this meeting today. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, guys. We'll talk more, okay? So, perfect time.